to the top of the page.
Yeah, so we're in Deuteronomy 23 and 18 in your books. That is number 123.
All right, Deuteronomy 23:18. Thou shalt not thou shalt not bring the hire of a whore, or the price of a dog into the house of the Lord thy God, for any vow, for even both these are an abomination to the Lord thy God.
So that don't match up with that here.
That's okay. We just go to the verse.
Yeah, like I said, we're just gonna deal with the verse. Just don't worry about the description.
Deuteronomy 23:18 is telling us if someone is a whore or a prostitute and you want to go do a vow in the house of the Lord, you want to pay an offering or a first fruit, you can't bring that. That money is abominable.
Okay.
When it says the price of a dog, that's a male prostitute. You know how women call men dogs when they sleep around? It says dog, but it's a male prostitute, typically.
Hold on a second. It's saying that if you bring the money that they get from prostitution, that's abomination.
Yeah, you can't bring that money into the house of the Lord. Like, no more than when Christ, where is that at? When Christ was when Judas, I think it's in Matthew, they tried to when he threw back the money.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Buy a bird and spot with it.
Right, but they said, but there's a reason why they couldn't bring it. They couldn't put it in the treasury. They said because it was blood money, and we can't put that in the treasury. So you can't just have a you can't bring drug money, murder for hire money, whore money, prostitution money. Can't bring those things. Yeah, drug money, you can't bring it. These are all abominable things.
Right.
Yeah, so you can't bring that in the house of the Lord. I mean, you can do it, nobody would know. You know, she can say, or he can say, oh, I didn't get this from male prostitution, I got it from whatever. But the Most High knows, and it's not accepted. Your offering is not accepted. You gave it, and the people took it because they didn't know about it, but the Most High don't accept it.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it was an abominable thing for one of our sisters to be a whore, or a man to be a dog.
Right.
Number 26.
All right, so next is 126, Deuteronomy 24 and 1. Want me to read it?
Yeah.
Okay, Deuteronomy 24 and 1. When a man hath taken a wife and married her, and it passed that she find no favor in his eyes, because he had found some uncleanness in her, then let him write her a bill of divorcement and give it in her hand and send her out of his house. So this is a law of divorcement. In the Old Testament, you can divorce for other things than adultery, as Christ stated. Now, obviously, that doesn't apply. It has to be for adultery. Like your wife would have to cheat on you to give her a bill of divorce. You can't just, you don't find no favor in her eyes. You can't just, in your eyes, you can't just divorce her, right? So as much as the law is applicable for us, this part doesn't stand because Christ, who has all final authority, he said, this only applies when she has committed adultery, right?
I'll read 24 for you.
Okay.
Deuteronomy 24 and 2. And when she is departed out of his house, she may go and be another man's wife.
Right. And then, okay, so when she leaves, she could go and marry another. So unlike, again, today, if you let's say you go and, let's say you go and the woman commits adultery with a man, that's her husband now. Does that make sense? That would be her husband because she has now fornicated with that man. They did the act that, binds two together. She's cheated on you. She doesn't belong to you no more. She belongs to that guy, right?
Kind of like David and Uriah's wife.
Right. Exactly. Okay. And then it says, verse 3.
And if the latter husband hate her and write her a bill of divorce and give it in her hand and send her out of his house, or if the latter husband died, which took her to be his wife, her former husband, which sent her away, may not take her again to be his wife. After that, she is defiled, for that is an abomination unto the Lord.
So, brother, remember
that 127, right?
We're still dealing.
We're still in 126, but it's extending to 127.
Okay.
All right. So, all right, like it says, the former husband. So let's say I have a wife. I put her away. She goes and marries another, but then that guy puts her away. She can't come back to me.
Yes. Okay.
Right. And this time that was an abomination. You can't do that, right? Sorry, remember, anytime we have questions, raise your hand so we can keep it in order. Okay, sis, go ahead.
She becomes a widow after her second husband died.
A widow?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're asking, even if the second husband died, she still can't go back to the first one.
So basically,
So-
you can't marry the same person twice.
Yeah.
You can if she went away and didn't know another man. But if you send her away and a year or two you change your mind, you miss her, you want her back, but she hadn't gone on to somebody else, you can take her back. But if she went to somebody else, then so what it does, before you send her away, you want to make sure, like you really want to send her away, because if you do send her away, there is no taking her back if she goes to be with somebody else. So if a man, it stops them from playing with our sisters and be like, yo, I'm done with you, get out of my house. A couple months later, yo, I love you again, come back. 2 years later, I'm done with you again, get out of my house. Like, oh, we've been broken up 5 times, So it stops our brothers from dealing with our sisters that way.
She allows you to go to a third person.
Huh?
They said you have 2, right? So, first husband, second husband. Died, came back to the first one.
Yeah, she can go can't go back to the original one or whoever sent her away before, but she can go to somebody new, as the Bible says. And when she departs from his house, she may go and be another man's wife.
All right. Remember the story.
There was a story.
So one sec.
When Yehoshua.
Hold on, brother. 1 sec. Let me just finish explaining. And remember, questions, raise your guys' hand. Just keeps everything in order. So, to the brother, what he was saying, there's 2 accounts. Like the brother said, there was one where the Messiah said, or they came to the Messiah saying, what if there was a woman who had 7 husbands, and they all died, and then she was the next man's husband, so there were 7 of them, and they said, whose will she be in the resurrection? And then also, I guess Tobit's a little bit different because they died. They all died. Okay, that's a little different, so I won't use Tobit. But so she can have another one in this context. She just can't go to the former one. So, for example, the third one, she can't go to the second one again. She can't go to the first one or the second one. She takes a 4th husband. She can't go to the first, second, or third, and then et cetera, et cetera.
Can't go backwards.
Right? Okay, so that's that. Moving on.
Okay, yeah, question.
Oh, you had a question?
Not really, I said the same thing you're saying here, that when Yehoshua did first asked Yehoshua about the
Right.
But
Yeah.
he said to them that don't you know in heaven they won't be given marriage
So next is what's the number?
I think we're on
128.
Sure. The widow.
to do
128, and it's the next verse is Deuteronomy 24 and 5, isn't it?
no.
Oh, my bad.
25 and
Sorry about that. 25 and 5. My apologies. Deuteronomy 25, verse 5. Let me read it.
When a brother dwell
All right.
together upon
If Deuteronomy 25 and 5, if brethren dwell together, and one of them die, and have no children, the wife of the dead shall not marry without a stranger. Without unto a stranger. Her husband's brother shall go in unto her and take her to him to wife, and perform the duty of an husband's brother unto her.
So this means this is the I forget how they other people phrase it, but basically if you die, so let's say I'm married, I die, I have no children, no seed, then my brother is allowed to go into my wife and after I'm dead, and then make children in my name.
Yeah.
Right? So so that way my name, but he can't do it in his name. So he can't say, so their genealogy wouldn't be son of my brother's name, it'd be the son of my name. Does that make sense?
Yes, it's just like that brother who was supposed to do that, and the Most High killed him because he didn't want to do it.
Right. I think it's Onias.
Yeah.
Oniah, I think. Or no, I think
With Tamar.
Yeah, but it says right here, the brothers have to dwell together. When brothers are dwell together, that's what it says right in there.
well, it's talking about literal brethren though. Literal brothers though. It's not talking about, well, what'd you say, Elder? It's talking
They're
about,
living together.
Yeah, but it's talking about brothers like they have the same father.
yeah.
So they brothers, and one of them died. My brother have a duty that he have to now take my wife and bring up a child to me, to honor me.
What if
That might seem- Huh? If he doesn't like her, well, that's why he died. He didn't want to have a child with her, and he decided to spit it on the floor, right?
Right.
And he had to remember. John was listening to somebody about this.
Oh yes, it was Herod.
Herod,
Yes.
and he said that you can't have your brother's wife
Yeah.
because they had a kid together.
Mhm.
So he already had a kid.
And he was alive.
That he was alive.
Right? So, and then verse 6.
Deuteronomy 25 and 6. And it shall be that the firstborn which she beareth shall succeed in the name of his brother which is dead, that his name be not put out of Israel.
So, like I said, it can't, the child has to go and has to have my name, not my brother's name. That's the whole point of them getting together, right? Let's read verse 7.
And Deuteronomy 25 and 7. And if the man not to take his brother's wife, then let his brother's wife go up to the gate unto the elders, and say, my husband's brother refuses to raise up unto his brother a name in Israel. He will not perform the duty of my husband's brother.
So if a brother's like, nah, I don't want to take her, I'm not attracted to her, whatever it may be. Remember, it's his duty. He has to do it. It's just what the law says. What's going to happen? Verse 8.
Verse 8. Then the elders of his city shall call him and speak unto him, and if he stand to it and says, I like not to take her, then shall his brother's wife come unto him in the presence of the elders, and loose his shoes from off his foot, and spit in his face, and shall answer and say, so shall it be done unto that man that will not build up his brother's house.
So if you refuse not,
Then.
brother, one sec,
Not yet.
you got to be patient. Can't cut in front. I'm trying to work with you, brother. So verse 9. So he says, if the brother refuses, then he gets shamed in front of, like, the woman shames him, because there's a reason why he just refused to carry out the house of his brother. So the woman would then, so if the guy's like, no, I'm not doing it. Now the man who did it and died, because they didn't have this judgment at the time, the Most High just struck him down dead. But now, because there was a judgment made for it, he doesn't have to die, but this has to happen. So the wife will take him, bring him to the elders of the city and to the gates, and then in the presence of the elders, she'll take off his shoe, spit in his face, and then shall answer and say, so shall it be done to them unto the man that will not build up his brother's house. Oh, and verse 10.
And his name shall be called in Israel, the house of him that has his shoes loose.
So that's gonna be his name in the house of Israel, the house of him that has his shoe loosed. That's what they would call him, right? Any questions or points? Cool. So let's go to the next one. Yeah.
I guess the logic and this is that so that yes, the brother's name can be carried on, and this woman who would have been childless, she has children that can, eventually come and help her and all of this, and this brother now would have been denying her that. So
Not really. She could go and have children with somebody else.
One second. Well, that's okay. So what it said, that would be okay. That's a point to look at, but that's not why though. Like the Bible doesn't say that's why, but that there's a point. It's valid, but just biblically, the reason why is because the guy's name is not going to be. It tells you, and his name shall be called in Israel the house of him that has a loose shoe. Why? Because that man will not build up his brother's house. It was important for man's seed to be carried on, and his name, so that his tribe, etc. So that's why. But that's the shame that he won't do the duty of keeping his brother's legacy going. But
what about the brother himself? What about his name? What about his legacy?
His legacy will be the house of him that has his shoe loosed. Verse 10.
No, I'm not talking about that. So
what are you talking about?
What I'm talking about?
What if he did the duty for the brother?
Exactly. What about him now?
Well,
what's in it for him?
He can have another kid.
Yeah.
And raise up for himself in his name.
So
or another wife.
I know that the wife sounds better, but if he has a next kid, is it still his brother's kid?
No.
Yeah.
He says you're raising up a kid to your brother, but he can have
Just
another
one.
kid. Right. You just need one.
Just need one.
Right.
Okay.
Right. All right. Go ahead. If it's a girl, that's a good point.
Try again.
I would. Yeah, that's a good point. I think by logic, you'd have to try again until you get a seed.
But isn't the brother have the same name?
yes.
Sorry.
I mean, he and his brother has the same name.
Yes.
Right.
No. Well, yeah. Well, they'd be from the same tribe if they have the same father. Yeah, but it's more like because they didn't always say son of Ephraim, son of Judah. They sometimes said that their actual a certain grandfather, like son of David, son of Solomon, whatever. So that's the point because they're already from the same tribe. That's not the point. And so that man can have his own seed line, right? What?
Well, they still keep that.
They keep this?
Yes.
Oh.
When you think about it, when you have say a couple, they can't have children for whatever reason. When they get old in age, it's kind of like they never really exist because once they're gone, that's it. But they got a daughter or a son, and somebody keeping on their legacy, remembering them. Once you gone, that's
So I'm not telling right for him go and have a kid with somebody else.
yeah. As long as he does his brotherly duty.
No,
That's it.
I'm saying you just said that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something else.
Mm.
A man is married, that's my wife over there,
Yeah.
and she wouldn't give me children. Could I go to the next woman and have children with them?
Well,
Well, that sounds like a
typically you can take second wife.
Yeah, I think that's a different topic
Now
though.
remember,
I know that. I know.
I'll show you something. Remember when that's Sarah, right? When she couldn't have, and she said, "Take Hagar." And then remember Jacob, when one of the sisters couldn't anymore after she became barren, and then she gave her handmaid and said that she got a son, but it's not her; it's a handmaid, but she counted as her son. The same thing.
Mhm. Okay. So let's move on. So let's go to Deuteronomy 22:29, number 132.
Deuteronomy 29.
Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 29. Deuteronomy 22, verse 29. That's number 132 in the book. I guess start from 28.
Yeah.
All right.
Deuteronomy 22 and 28. If a man finds a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her, and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that laid with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he has humbled her. He may not put her away all his days.
All right. I get actually, should we back? Okay, since we did that, let's back up to verse
Isn't that right?
27. Hold on. What did you say, brother?
Isn't that right?
We're gonna answer that
Yeah.
shortly. Let's read verse 25. It's actually let's start from 23. Actually, it goes way back. Yeah, let's start from 22.
All right. Deuteronomy 22:22. If a man be found laying with a woman married to a husband, then they shall both of them die, both the man that laid with the woman and the woman. So shalt thou put away evil from Israel.
All right, so adultery. Okay, so if a man is found lying with the woman, the woman's married, then the man and the woman are supposed to be put to death. The man who committed the adultery and the woman, they're both supposed to be put to death. Yes, brother.
So David, when he did what he did to Uriah, then he was supposed to be put to death then.
Well, in certain situations in the scriptures, we see the Most High giving people mercy.
I know.
For example, we were all sinners in our past lives, and a lot of things we did, we should be put to death. But the Most High has given us mercy. So it's not that there's a contradiction, but
No, I'm not saying that.
Yeah, but you're right. If he was just going there to judge him, he was supposed to be.
Yes,
Yeah.
because when Nathan came to him, Nathan said to him, when he gave him the story about a man have one little sheep. And, you know the story. And then he said, you that man. But the Most High said, he's not gonna make you die. But what he's gonna do is make your house be unrest, meaning that things are gonna come up in your house that is not right.
But David didn't go judgmentless or whatever.
Yeah.
He didn't get judged.
That's what I'm saying.
So yeah. All right, let's keep reading.
Where we at?
23.
22:23 Deuteronomy. If a damsel that is a virgin be betrothed unto a husband, and a man finds her in the city and lay with her, then they shall bring them both out unto the gate of that city, and shall say, stone them, and ye shall stone them, with stones that they die. The damsel because she cried not, being in the city, and the man because he has humbled his neighbor's wife. So thou shalt put away evil from among you.
So it's breaking the law to sleep with a woman that is betrothed or engaged to a man. It's a sin to sleep with a woman that is already promised to another man. That's what this law is saying. So not even if they're married, also if they're engaged, you can't sleep with that woman. They haven't been officially married yet, but they're engaged or they're courting, whatever. You can't sleep with that woman, and if but she should be put to death too because she didn't cry out. And then as we further read the laws, it's going to explain what that part means, but why she didn't cry out. So let's read.
If you notice, it says, and he finds her in the city. You know why it says city? Because you got help. There's a lot of people in the city. It's not like in a field. It's not in the country. She can scream all day in the field. Who's going to hear her?
Mm-hmm.
But in the city, you have a chance to be rescued. You have a chance to cry out for help.
Yeah.
There's a story in the book of Suzanne.
Right.
Suzanne,
Yeah.
in the Apocrypha, where the same thing happened, and she cried out before they can get a chance.
But in today's world, that would call rape.
Yeah, but if she don't cry out, even in today's world, if she don't cry out, you're gonna have a hard time, right? If she don't say stop.
All right. So we just read 24, right? Yeah.
Bring them forward.
So let's read 25. Yeah.
Deuteronomy 22:25. But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and that man force her and lie with her, then the man only that lay with her shall die.
So rape, that's basically what it's describing, rape, and rape on not even a married woman, an engaged woman. So that is unlawful as well, not just if to the woman is married, all right? All right. You have something to
But
add?
notice she didn't have to cry out.
Because he forced her.
Yeah, but she's in the field.
Okay. Okay.
Deuteronomy 22:26. But unto the damsel, thou shalt do nothing. There is in the damsel no sin worthy of death. For as when a man raises against his neighbor and slays him, even so is this matter.
Mm-hmm. So the damsel's not. She can go back to her husband. The man was killed and judgment was carried out. She didn't want it. She was forced. She was raped. So he was killed. So it's not her fault, right? So let's read. You have something else?
No.
Okay. What was next? 27.
27. There it is. Deuteronomy 22:27. For he found her in the field, and the betrothed damsel cried, and there was none to save her.
Right.
If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her, and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that laid with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he has humbled her. He may not put her away all his days.
Right. So he has to, if before, like for example, like before the father was involved and the dowry was involved and there's a virgin not betrothed, if a man just sleeps with her, now they're married. Now he has to do that act of going and giving the father 50 shekels, doing the dowry, right? But we know sex is marriage, but before the sex, there was supposed to be a dowry. The father is supposed to, be involved, etc. All this stuff. So there's customs, and if a man does that before the customs, he can't be, oh, I just slept with her, now I'm leaving. No, he has to marry her. He has to pay the dowry, right?
Right. And in this situation too, if the man finds the virgin, which is not betrothed, he lay hold on her, and he takes her and he lays with her. Unlike the other one where Moses suffered him to give a bill of divorcement, this one says he may not put her away all his days.
Right.
Because he humbled her.
All right. Okay, we're gonna do one more because it's 8 already.
Yeah.
But we're gonna do one more and wrap it up. Okay. So we're gonna go to okay.
So when we're reading like this, should we be practicing this like now? Like in the assembly? Like when we read it, are we exactly?
Of course.
Well, I'm just asking, like we all have young children, I'm like wondering if they get on age and a scenario happens, what if the guys are in the assembly for like 8 hours?
Yeah, no, you can't do that today. The reason why is cheating is not a law being broken in this society. We can all do that, but we're all going to be put in jail or whatever. And I mean, we're in the land of our captivity. There's only so much we can do. We can't set up our own government. The last time we tried that, it got blown up. So unfortunately, you can't follow this properly today. If you want to create some sort of, we can, if we try here, we're all going to be caught very shortly. If you want to create some sort of society with your own laws, you can try your best. If it works, all praises. But typically speaking, in general, I can't practice that with my brothers, etc. It's just not going to work. But does it matter in the Most High's eyes? Like if two people commit adultery, is the Most High watching, and will you get judged eventually? Yes, absolutely. And there's only so much we can practice Again, there's grace. We have grace. Being in the land of our captivity, there's only so many laws we can keep perfectly. Even though we're striving for perfection, there's only so much we can do, and the Most High understands that. So, no, you couldn't properly keep this judgment that it's describing, right? We don't have elders at the gate who are carrying out Israelites' judgments, right? So, yeah.
You're asking, can we keep the judgment or just the law itself?
Sort of the law that the spirit has to do with somebody that happens to be sending their brother or sister, and you're feeling that nobody knows that they're trying to get a secret message of pregnant. With this, and they say, well, counselor say, well, you guys should be getting married or whatever.
Oh, that part, yeah, that part, yeah. Sorry, I thought you meant the whole like the judgment part. Oh.
Because we all have young people going through their teens, and we all follow what we teach and what they learn, and I just kind of wonder.
We can keep.
Society's coming force young people to get married. Something happens if they find out, right?
We can keep that part.
That's what
We can do that. But as far as like a woman that, for example, is worthy of, if a damsel is worthy of death, like she did something wrong, we can't kill her on our own. We're gonna, right? But that part, yeah, you can say, hey, you two are courting, or you're engaged. Now you've slept with the person, or even not engaged, a virgin. You've done the act of marriage. Now you got to do what's required of you after that. But the thing is, like, some people's Israelite women don't have their fathers in their life. Some of them are dead or whatever, just not involved. So again, there's only so much you can do, but the Most High understands. All right. So, okay, let's get this last one in. Deuteronomy 23. Yeah, let's do Deuteronomy 23, verse 8, which is number 164 in the books.
Starting verse 7. Deuteronomy 23, verse 7. Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou was a stranger in his land. The children that are begotten of them shall enter into the congregation of the Lord in their third generation.
All right. So what this is saying, there's a lot of different opinions on this, but what it's saying is, this is not talking about a Gentile Israelite. It's not talking about a stranger that's Israelite. It's actually talking about heathens. Their children, okay, so themselves, let's say an Edomite comes from his land and he wants to dwell among us at this particular time. He can't come in the congregation. His child can't come in the congregation, but his kid's kid can come in. That's the third generation, correct? So he can come in. The reason why is because, simply put, by the third generation, the child will be more accustomed to the laws, and they're not likely to walk on and bring a dead pig to the priest to say, here's my offering, or whatever heathenish customs they have. They're not more likely to do that. That's why the third generation can come in. Again, that's for an Edomite, an Egyptian. I think it also describes the Ammonite here too. Where does it describe that? Yeah, here, verse 3, an Ammonite and a Moabite shall not enter the congregation. So these two actually specific tribes, they can't come into their 10th generation or forever. But the Egyptian and the Edomite, it's calling out specifically they can at the third generation. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? There's no such thing as a mixed anybody biblically. So whatever their father is, that's what they are. So if it's an Edomite, it's an Edomite. If they're mixed, well, whoever their father is, that's who that is. So let's say, just to give you what you're saying, let's say you have a man whose father was an Edomite and his mother was a Hamite. He's an Edomite. Now his child is an Edomite as well. The child isn't a Hamite. The child is of the seed of his father. So that child can to the congregation, but his kids can. Because by that time the heathen culture is bred out of them. Right? You have anything you want to add to that? All right. So any questions? Okay, so because it's 8 o'clock, we're gonna go ahead and end the live stream. All right.